Welcome to History in Flames. Empires rise and fall, the past comes alive in fire and ash. Subscribe and relive the stories that shaped the world. Beneath the dark waters of the Atlantic Ocean, a silent war was fought, hidden far below the surface. Submarines stalked enemy ships like underwater predators. Inside these vessels lived crews of sailors who spent weeks, sometimes months, cut off from the world above. No sunlight, little fresh air, and the constant fear that one mistake could send the entire submarine to the bottom of the sea. This was life inside a World War II submarine. Submarines became one of the most dangerous weapons of World War II. Germany's U-boats were deployed across the Atlantic Ocean with a clear mission: destroy Allied supply ships. These convoys carried food, oil, weapons, and troops to Britain and other Allied nations. If the supply lines could be cut, Britain could starve. The German Navy believed submarines could win the war at sea. Before every patrol, submarine crews prepared for weeks at sea. Food, fuel, and torpedoes were loaded carefully into the vessel. Once the hatch closed, the crew entered a world unlike any other. The submarine was narrow, crowded, and filled with machinery. For the sailors on board, the steel tube would become their home. Life inside a submarine was extremely cramped. A typical U-boat carried more than 40 crew members in a vessel. It was barely large enough to move around. There was almost no privacy. Bunks were stacked tightly together. Many sailors shared beds. This system was called hot bunking. When one sailor finished his shift, another immediately took his place. Food was stored everywhere, even between torpedoes. Submarine crews lived on strict routines. Shifts lasted several hours. Some sailors monitored sonar and navigation equipment. Others maintained engines, checked torpedoes, or stood watch in the control room. Every movement inside the submarine mattered. A mechanical failure could mean disaster. Submarine patrols could last weeks or even months. Fresh air quickly disappeared. Humidity filled the metal corridors. The smell of diesel fuel, sweat, and machinery became impossible to escape. For long periods, sailors rarely saw the sun. Their entire world was a narrow steel vessel surrounded by miles of ocean. When a convoy was spotted, the submarine prepared to attack. The crew moved quickly and silently. Torpedoes were loaded into launch tubes. The captain carefully calculated the target's speed and direction. Then came the command every submariner waited for: fire. But attacking ships was only the beginning. Once discovered, enemy destroyers began dropping depth charges. These powerful explosives detonated. Underwater near the submarine, the blasts shook the vessel violently. Lights flickered. Metal groaned under the pressure of the deep-sea crew. Members waited in silence, hoping the next explosion would not tear the submarine apart. Serving on a submarine was one of the most dangerous roles in World War II. Thousands of submariners never returned from their missions. Many vessels disappeared, without warning, lost somewhere in the vast ocean. For the sailors inside, every patrol could be their last. When a mission ended successfully, submarines returned to port. Crews stepped onto land again after weeks at sea. For many sailors, the feeling of fresh air and sunlight was unforgettable, but they knew it would not last soon. The submarine would return to the ocean, and the silent war beneath the waves. Submarine warfare changed naval history forever, hidden beneath the ocean's surface. These vessels fought a silent and deadly battle during World War II. Inside them served crews who lived in darkness, danger, and constant uncertainty. Their war was unseen, but their story remains one of the most fascinating chapters of World War II. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more. Share your thoughts below.